was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Well, hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, as always, Colleen Biggs, and you know, every week, twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, I bring you some of the best guests, and these guests are in every industry. These are generally female entrepreneurs, leaders within corporate America. And here on this show, it's all about taking the leap. What have they done? How did they land on 2 feet? This is so that you can squash fear, so that you can feel empowered about how you're growing your business, how your life is, because no one should wake up unhappy. No one should be walking through life in fear or afraid or with anxiety. So I love this show because we talk about all the fun stuff in life, like growing a business and how it can be fun. And today, Angie Giltner, wild child girl, when you see her, you got to go to my Facebook page to check her out. I connected with her so quickly because she's absolutely fantastic. I love her hair, right? She's got this short, spiky hair. It looks purple to me, but it could be blue. I can't really tell. It's purple for sure. Okay. And I just connected with her because her energy is off the charts. And when you have another energy match with someone like that, you're like, I got to get to know this person because they are like crazy in energy like I am. So we connected right away. And I'm super excited to have her as a guest on my show because we're going to be talking about how networking can empower you. You've all heard me talk about your network is your net worth, how networking is really the basis and foundation of how I've built everything in my life, my careers, my businesses, my community, everything has been about networking. So we're going to be talking about how that can empower you today. But before we get to the interview, I would love to thank our sponsor for today's show, Ally Spine Center. So what sets their office apart from other offices is their focus and expertise in treating degenerative spinal conditions, including disc disease, bulging herniated discs, spinal stenosis, neuropathy, sciatica, pain, tingling, and numbness in the arms, hands, feet, and legs, as well as severe and chronic neck pain and headaches. They specialize in corrective care, not just the treatment of the symptoms with physical medicine modalities. In many cases, they do pre and post images. They're used to help determine the structural improvement of the spine. So if you know if anyone's suffering with the neck or back pain, or any of the conditions I talked about, please have them reach out or yourself reach out for an immediate appointment. They're here in Scottsdale, Arizona, but I can tell you that he is a wealth of knowledge, Mr. Chris, and he will be able to help you at 480-809-4700 or allyspinecenter.com. All of that is at your fingertips right now. So there's no reason why you can't click on that and go check them out. He has a lot of information, just basic information and knowledge on his website that could be very helpful for someone who is suffering with a lot of these ailments within their bodies. So thank you to Ally Spine Center for being a sponsor of today's show. Now, Miss Angie Giltner, she's a best-selling author. Loving it. She's coaching women in 8 countries and 23 states. She's Ohio's Small Business of the Year. In her area, she's actually Woman of the Year. Can't wait to dive into that. Co-founder of Networking Empowers Women, founder of Women Supporting Women Business Group, and founder of the Power of Her Professional Development event. So can you say she's all about empowering women? Yes, I can. Angie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. That I was put on this earth to empower women. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Okay. How did you know when? How did you know that? And when did you know that?
Well, I was probably 4. And my parents sent me to kindergarten when I was before. I'm convinced it was because they wanted me to get out of the house, but they tell me that it's because I was ready. And my first day of kindergarten, I remember it like it was yesterday, and I'm 50+1. So it's a long time ago. I went in and Miss Baker was my teacher, and I literally pushed her aside and said, I've got this. And I was planning on teaching art was my plan. Mind you, I can barely draw a stick figure, but I had it. And I was like, I'm all about this right now. I always, when Romper Room was on, I always wanted to be the girl reading the books. So,
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I do. I think it takes a special gift, honestly, to empower other individuals, but you have to be willing to be empowered yourself first, right? So what was that journey like for you to become an empowered woman, Angie?
Yeah, so I was very, very lucky that my father taught me, once again, at a very young age. He was like, you are limitless. There is nothing in this world that you cannot do. And he always empowered me. If I wanted to try something, he's like, let's figure it out. Let's figure out a way for you to try it. And I was born, actually, people don't know this. I was born with a congenital foot and ankle disease, and not a disease, but a condition, and had to have multiple surgeries, blah, blah, blah. So I was limited by some things. However, my dad said, oh, no, you are never limited. You are limitless. And he empowered me to do all of the things, try all of the things that I ever wanted to do. And I just always appreciated that about me or about him, because every time that I tried something and it maybe didn't work out the way that I had hoped, he'd like, you're freaking Angie Gosser. Gosser is my maiden name. What do you mean? You're not giving up. You're not stopping. If you want this, you go after it and you do it. And so I've carried his energy into my life and into my business. And I share the gift that I receive with others.
Yeah. That key of something you just said is so crucial. He said, you're Angie Gosner, right? So he said, you're Angie. The identity of who you were. He didn't say, you're my daughter, you don't act that way, or you need to be empowered, or, someone that's like, you're my wife, or you're a mother, because we have all these identities. And I think that's where it kind of gets really muddled, because underneath all those layers of the identities of who we are, which, yes, we might be a sister or mother or daughter, or, all of those things, a cousin, an aunt, but you're Angie. And I think it's very important for us to remember that the empowerment comes through the identity of who we are. I just did a segment, episode 89. I would love for everyone to go back and listen to that, about finding your voice. And your voice comes through who you become and the authenticity. And it doesn't have to be in a word that you say. It's how you show up. It's how you, treat other people. It's in the written word sometimes, right?
Yes.
So you've had some triumphs. You've had a lot of setbacks. And I really believe those of us that kind of rise from the ashes, that have had a lot of setbacks. And I'm not asking you to focus on, the things that really, or the horrible stories in your life, because I don't like it when people want to go back and focus on, my upbringing or abuse or any of those things. But when you have had a life where you've been up and down, you're sitting with $2.84 in your bank. By the way, I know what that feels like, actually, to be negative $12.84 in your bank. I'm hoping they don't shut your bank account down, and borrowing $5 for gas to get to work. How did that empower you, Angie, honestly, like to keep going? Because as entrepreneurs, the women you work with, it is not an uphill, like shooting out of a cannon, and then you're making multiple six figures and it just keeps going that way. There's ups and downs and wins, and you might have big weeks and you get $17,000 that week, and then it's crickets for 7 weeks, right? So how has that, those hardships, right? You continue to take the leap and encourage other women to do that. How do those hardships like you're a courage builder.
Yes.
Did it build all the courage for you, those hurdles?
So I learned that nothing happens if there's no action behind it, right? And so many times people get complacent and think, oh, it'll change, it'll change, it'll change. No, you have to make it change. Mm-hmm. And so when the day I had $2.84 in my bank account, after I had a little bit of a meltdown, I said, look, you did not go into business to fail, and you sure as heck didn't go into business to be broke. So what do I have to do? And where the courage came in was I knew that I needed to work with a coach, because empowered women empower women. And I knew if I was going to be a successful entrepreneur, I needed help. I needed someone to teach me the things that I didn't know, and trust me, it was plenty. I needed someone to hold me accountable. I needed someone to motivate me and help me get through that part and guide me through that part. And my husband and I mean, it was a tough conversation that we had, because I needed to come up with 10 grand. And when you have $2.84 in the bank, if you don't think having courage to spend 10 grand, like that was the scariest investment I have ever made in my entire life. However, what I can tell you is fast forward, that was 9 years ago. That return continues to this day to pay off, because I still take the things that I learned from a coach 9 years ago and implement it into my business. Because it's one thing to go through coaching, it's another thing to implement it, right? Because nothing happens without action. And I took the leap, and I learned, and I listened, and then I implemented. And so that investment has paid off monumentally. And now I will never not have a coach, because I never want to have $2.84 in my bank account ever again.
Yeah.
And I don't have to, because I know better, I can do better. And so now I have, whenever I have an area of my life that I need some improvements in, or something creeps up, maybe unexpected, it's like, nope, I need a coach for this. I need to, go deeper, or I need to be challenged or held accountable or something. And literally the best investments I have ever made in my business ever.
Absolutely. It's interesting because I've had a health coach. I still do work with her, speaking coach, business coaches, spiritual coaches. I think there are a lot of guides out there that we need in our life. If someone is serious about wanting to get in shape, getting healthier, losing body fat, whatever they want to do, maybe they're training for a marathon, whatever it is, you go and you start researching data and looking for people that have done it before you. And then you mimic what they've done, right? You don't go from the couch to just run a marathon. You have to start doing the preparations for it. So I'm so glad you said that, because the support that we get, you are an empowered woman, but you had to be empowered from your father who empowered you. And now you pay that forward to empower other women. And, it's like the 4-minute mile, because I know you have Together We Move Mountains behind you, right? The 4-minute mile could never be broken. Oh my gosh. Medical experts said, no, wait. Your heart's going to explode. It's not going to happen. And then someone did it and they're like, and they're fine. And then everyone else started breaking it right after that. It's because they needed to know it was possible. So, being an entrepreneur is kind of like an S. And it's not really like it's crazy to me how many women just, want to start their own business, and then they're frustrated when things aren't going exactly the way. $2.84 in your bank account is a realistic thing that probably happens to most female entrepreneurs. In fact, if you added up all the credit card debt that you had from all the investment you put in, you're probably about negative. I think I told individuals, and I've shared this on my podcast, I was about negative 75 grand, right? My first year out. And that I didn't give up. I kept going because I knew what was possible. So what is it for you, Angie, that keeps you going? What is the support that you get that keeps you going? And what is it that you focus on with your clients that keeps them motivated to keep going?
Yeah. So I am all about sisterhood, because also when I've been at times when I've been an entrepreneur, I felt like I was on an island. And no one, yes, I have lovely friends. I have fantastic family. I have lots of people who love me, but they don't understand. If they're not a female entrepreneur, they don't understand. And so I felt like I was on an island, and I learned the power of sisterhood and surrounding myself with like-minded women. And Colleen and I, we talk about her and I, we're like-minded women, which is why our energies just go, because we bounce off of each other in the best way possible. And you have to have that, like, because it can get lonely and it can also get scary. I mean, I was scared when I had $2.84 in my bank account. I was scared. And that's not a feeling that I'm used to feeling. That's kind of an abnormal feeling for me. And then I really didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, okay, this is where my coach comes in. This is where my sisterhood comes in. And I need to, for one, it's a superpower to ask for help. And so many times as entrepreneurs, we think, oh, we're an entrepreneur. We should be able to handle it all ourselves. And if you identify as a solopreneur, well, that means me, and only me. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, girlfriend, you need a sisterhood. Like, you're going to be on an island and it's a lonely, lonely place to be. And it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be there, which is why the LEAP community is so powerful, because it's there for you. It's there to support you. It's there to, whenever you have $2.84 in the bank account, you've got the sisterhood behind you who's just going to love you up, re-energize you, do all the things that you need to keep you moving forward. And so what I do with my clients is, for one, it's, the accountability piece of it. And it's like, look, you're making this commitment to yourself. And if you don't show up, that's, you've broke that commitment to yourself.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a no-show on my calendar, but that means nothing. What means something is you broke the commitment to yourself. And so holding people accountable and saying, look, you're worth it. You're worth the time investment. You're worth the financial investment. Yeah. And, and keep moving forward. And if it takes teeny tiny little baby steps, and it takes teeny tiny baby steps, I've had to learn how to walk again twice in my life. And well, no, 3 times if you count when I was an infant. And teeny tiny baby steps is how I got there. And so, guiding women through that and showing up, teaching them how to show up for themselves, teaching them how to say, my price is my price is my price, because I'm earning my worth.
That's right.
There's no little, oh, but we can talk about the price if that's too much. Oh, no, this is what I charge.
Yeah.
This is what I charge.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I think a lot of people forget. If you walk into a therapist and they say I'm $250 an hour, you walk into an attorney and they say I'm $400 an hour. Yes, I will give you an hour of my time. You can sit down. I'll talk about it. If we can take your case, right? You pay it. You don't say,
Right.
Would you take $200 for that hour? Right. If you walk in and get, let's say, plastic surgery or any of those, there's a certain charge for that, right? Depending upon which type of brand of car you buy, there's might be some negotiation in there, but generally there's not, because they have to recoup, right, the value of the vehicle. So there's this thing called the value of your service. And it's not always just like what I'm worth. It's the value of what you're delivering is worth, right? Like, this is years for you. 50 plus 1, say me, 50 plus 1, April 7th, I turned 51. So for me, it's about, are you kidding me? I've been in the trenches with hundreds of entrepreneurs. I've launched hundreds of businesses. I've spent decades doing this. All of that knowledge and skill set and, experiences that I've been through, that's really what you're paying for, because that's the tools I'm going to give you, right? So Angie, we can give them the courage building toolbox. We can give them the entrepreneurial toolkit. We can give them everything they need, but the hammer doesn't build the house. The entrepreneur does. And where do you find in the women that you work with, because it might relate to a listener today that's struggling with this, what's the number one theme that you're finding is what's holding them back from really, truly You can see it because I know you can see it because I can see it in my clients. Unleashing their complete 100% authentic brilliance. What is it?
What holds them back is they think themselves small. Somewhere along the line, someone has told them that's all you're worth, you're not worth anymore, or some type of something, and then they've believed it. And so getting past and pushing through that mindset to stand firm in your confidence and say, no, you are who you are. Be proud of that. Stand firm in that. And don't let anyone take that away. And I know that that's easier said than done, which is why it's so important to work with a coach like Colleen or myself.
Yeah.
Because and then imposter syndrome starts to set in and you think, and as women, we're taught, quote unquote, we're supposed to be taking care of other people and we're supposed to be the nice ones and that type of thing. So if someone, maybe can't quite afford your services, you're supposed to be accommodating. And we've gotten all these messages throughout our entire lives. And it's like, wait a second. Like who were they to give that kind of advice?
Yeah.
What made them the experts in my business?
Yeah. I agree with you. And I'm glad you brought that up because if we feel like we need to give back, then go give back. Maybe you run a free workshop and you give away free information and people can come to that free workshop. But you're right. You are actually, when you lower your prices, you're lowering the value of the service and the product that you're offering to the other person. So that energy is lower. So then what they actually get out of it, they're going to expect the same result as someone paying full price when you're not able to deliver that at that lower amount of money. And I think we really need to remember that as individuals. It's interesting you said women. By our DNA, our nurturers, providers, all of that. Men, by their DNA, are providers. They get out there. They are responsible by their DNA. We're talking, just centuries and centuries ago of providing for the family. Women, babies and nurturing the young and the offspring and cooking and all that kind of stuff. So even if men feel that they're struggling, they will still push to provide, and we all know the statistics, apply for jobs, whatever it is, when they're 15% qualified and ask for a raise, where women won't even apply until they're 85% qualified and they're just happy with whatever they're going to get paid. This really has to stop as an entrepreneur because what someone might have said about you a long time ago that kept you stuck or kept you playing small is not serving you today. It's not going to serve the individuals that are waiting for you to show up because they need you to solve a problem for them. It's not serving your family. It's not serving your children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren that are watching you because you become the beacon. And when you're the beacon and you give yourself permission to be that larger than life and confident and empowered individual, then that you automatically give them permission to be it, just being in your space. Right.
Yes. And let's not forget, it's a lie. I mean, what they said when they told you weren't enough, that's a lie. When they told you didn't deserve more, that's a lie.
It was all their crap.
It's all their crap. Exactly. That says way more about them than it does about you. But as women, we will take that on and we will make it part of our identity. And I say, enough. We're better than that. We deserve more than that. We bring so much to the table. We deserve to get paid our worth, each and every one of us. And each and every one of us brings value into not only our lives, but the lives of our customers and the things that we can do and the transformations that we can help guide women, in my case, women through. Would you agree with that?
Totally agree. What is the one thing, would you say, as we start closing this out, that you wished someone would have taught you so much earlier in your entrepreneurship journey? Like, what stands out to you now? that you're
Yep.
like, yeah, it took me a long time.
It took me a long time because if I'm being perfectly transparent, even though I have always had a coach, there have been times when I have gone to the free coach of Google. What a massive, monumental mistake and I've done it multiple times, which that's the definition of insanity, right? So maybe I'm a little insane, but no, I mean, it's a cookie cutter approach. It's written out there, and all of the fake promises out there and all that stuff. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't allow you to take the leap because it knows nothing about all the variables about you, your life, and your business. It doesn't care about your success or anything like that. And it's crap advice. And so going out there and thinking, oh, if I just learn from enough people and get all the free stuff that I can possibly get, that's going to make me a better entrepreneur. And I can tell you, never once has that paid off for me. And when I look back at the time, which cost me money, that I've invested in the free coach of Google, it really torques me off. And I get mad at myself because I know better. And so never again. I probably haven't used the free coach of Google in 5 years.
That's great.
Something like, and I do use it for how do I find a coach to help me with this particular problem?
That's right. Unless you're searching for a coach, right? So, or a network, I would say, or a network of individuals. You could start there because you have a network of individuals. I have a network of individuals. And today we're talking about how networking can empower you. So how has networking empowered you? How has it brought you wealth? How has it brought you success? How has it brought you anything in your life, or everything, I should say?
Yeah. So networking is one of the most powerful things that you can do as an entrepreneur. And it's because when you're building those relationships, which are so, so critical, you get people to come down through your sales funnel much more quickly because they've built a relationship with you. And you're creating what I call loyal super fans who are out there going and listening. And when someone says, I'm a coach who's starting a coaching business, they go, oh, you need to talk to Angie Giltner because she teaches coaches how to coach. And so those are the best referrals, right? I mean, it cost me my networking time, which is, you can't put a price on that. Really, it's priceless.
Yeah.
And the relationships that I have built, and then to be able to reciprocate that, right? Like I have a list of people who I would absolutely 100% feel confident if I sent one of my clients to who I only want the best for them, I'm only going to refer them to the best. And networking has awarded me the opportunity to do that. And you're supporting another small business, that's important to me and to my heart. So there's just the power of networking. If you're not networking, you're missing out big time. Put yourself out there. I know it can be hard if you don't have a big personality like I have, but I'm telling you, it will pay off in spades. Mm-hmm. Just those relationships that you can build. Take that leap and just go out and do it. And you know what? Start in a safe community. If you're new to networking, start in a safe community like the Leap community, and try some things out and say, hey, I'm getting ready to go to a networking event. Anybody got any advice for me? Or how did you handle this? Or, any of those apprehensions that you might have. But just do yourself a favor. It is truly a gift that you will give yourself and your business.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Angie. And I want our listeners to be able to find you easily. So someone out there who's a coach that is looking for someone who can work with them to build their courage, just like you do, Angie, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
The best and easiest way to reach out to me is connect with me on LinkedIn. And it's just Angie Giltner, Giltner. super easy to find. You can't miss me. I'm the girl with the purple hair. You're going to recognize me right away. And shoot me a message, send me a DM, connect with me, follow me, and let's connect. Let's start a conversation, but send me a message and especially say, hey, I heard you on Colleen's podcast. And let's give her a big shout out for connecting us, because that's the other piece that makes networking so powerful is I know I like to connect people, and it makes me feel good when I know that I've connected two people to come together and something magical has come from that, whether it's a collaboration or business or referral partner or friendship. Yeah. So connect with me on LinkedIn, Angie Giltner. I would love to meet you.
This is your test for today. We're asking all of you to network because it can and will empower you. So reach out to Angie. You can go to her website at angiegiltner.com as well. And then I know you said you're the co-founder of Networking Empowers Women. What is that? I never even asked that, Angie.
Yeah, so it's a local, so I'm in Northeast Ohio, and it is a local networking community for females who have small businesses or identify as an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, because some women identify or they think, oh, it's different. We also have women leaders in there who are looking to move up the ranks. And that can get lonely if you've ever been in that space, if you're in corporate America. And so we meet and we talk about all types of different things that are specific to women. And only things that us women can understand. We're there to support each other. We celebrate each other's wins. There are times when we've cried together. We recommend things, like a book or a podcast or something like that that's going to help us grow either personally or professionally. And my co-founder is actually an economist, and we could not be more different. I mean, our brains don't work the same. We are just so very different. But that's the beauty of networking, is it brings, although we have commonalities with our like-mindedness, but it brings a diverse group of people together that we can have these robust conversations and learn and grow and support one another. And I won't miss a meeting. I just won't miss a meeting. It's that important.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so if you are in Northern Ohio, make sure you look up Angie Giltner with her Networking Empowers Women. Again, shoot her a message on LinkedIn, especially if you're up in that area and you want to connect with her. But if you're a coach and you're wanting your business to maybe generate more money or generate more time, or you just feel like you're not really happy and you don't feel the joy and it's not bringing that for you, make sure you reach out to Angie Giltner, because she is a fantastic female. And I can't think of anyone better to build that courage for you to be able to keep going, to continue building that business, a business you can be proud of. Right. I mean, that's the biggest thing. So, Angie, thank you so much for being on our show today. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. So playing small is not serving you at all. This is your chance to be loud and proud, get out into the world, network, be empowered, meet other fantastic individuals, because that's how I go into networking. I want to meet a friend. I want to get to know people. I want to hang out with people like Angie, right? I want to meet new people, and that's why I network. So find your reason of why you want to get out there, be empowered through the modalities of networking. And I promise you, it will change your business, because if you're the world's best kept secret, no one knows about you, your business isn't going to grow. It's just not going to grow. All right, everyone. Thank you for being part of today's podcast. Thank you, Angie, for joining us. And to all of you, remember, until next time, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.